Hi, and welcome back. I'm Karen Fernandez, and this is Living with Integrity, Creating an Abundant Life. I can't believe we're already on episode 6 of this series. We've gone over a lot of information about laying a foundation to establishing an abundant life and how to live authentically with integrity and with our Creator as our anchor and co-pilot. We've established and created a daily personal routine made up of mind, body, and spirit practices, meditation, body movement, mental rehearsal, prayer or conscious contact with God, along with gratitude, humility, and forgiveness. These practices will not only be the bedrock of our foundation, but they will also be the tools we will lean on when life shows up for us in ways that are less than pleasant. These practices will help us navigate through treacherous or troubled moments in our life. But where and how do we find the motivation to keep these practices going, or sometimes to even start a practice at all? We will have to learn to fight against our biggest challenge of all, ourselves. We will have to face our shadow side, our laziness, our stubbornness, our arrogance. Maybe we are struggling with depression or anxiety. This alone can be crippling to any goodwill of trying something new or sticking to a routine. We will have to figure out and find out what our motivating factor, our deeper purpose for doing this work is. We will need to create a new vision for ourselves. Writing down our goals and visions will help us to get a clear picture of what we are trying to do. And it's the first step into bringing what we want into reality. Here are the top 10 rules for changing our lives. Once we know these rules and understand the importance of them, we then can and will use our routine and practices we've learned in this series to make these rules and changes in our life mean something and become a format or approach in how we live our life, being the best version of ourselves we can be. Having full autonomy, living a life of freedom, and creating that abundance which is our birthright. With our routine in place, our life and reality we are creating becomes doable and achievable. Over time, it will even start to become easy, effortless, and dare I say fun when we make a game out of it. But we have to let go and stop being so rigid, uptight, or lazy and complaining. Rule number 1, have a vision, something that is bigger than you. Find that purpose that gets you going. We all have a bigger purpose inside of us. We were all created with a purpose and have a plan. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you, to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. We each are unique. We all have gifts, talents, and are creative with different abilities. Think about your gifts, talents, and abilities. What do you desire to do with this life that you've been given? What makes you feel happy and excited? What are you passionate about? We all have desires. Tap into yours. If you're struggling to figure this out, start by writing down what you love to do. Ask God for help. Remember, we are creating a personal relationship with our Creator. Talk to God as you would a close friend, in your mind or aloud when you're in private. If you are feeling stuck, ask God to give you inspiration of thought, clarity of mind, discernment in your heart. It will come. Believe that it will, and grow in trust, knowing that your Creator is with you and assisting you at all times. Understand, it takes time to develop this invisible relationship. We can't see God, but God is always with us and wants this personal relationship with each of us. God is not too busy to worry about the small things in our lives. If it matters to us, it matters to God. See God as an all-loving, all-knowing, and all-powerful, giving source of never-ending comfort, support, guidance, and love. If you had a good relationship with a parent, look at God as the ultimate, all-loving parent figure. Can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child that she has born? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Isaiah 49:15. God did not bring you this far to leave you now and let you flounder on your own. God is always with us. 2. Believe in yourself. We have the capacity to do extraordinary things. We have to build up that belief inside ourselves and in our abilities. As we develop living a life with integrity by standing by the words we say, having them mean something, and following through with our actions to confirm that, our belief in ourselves will naturally grow, knowing that our God is with us, supporting us, leading us, guiding us, and opening up doors in our lives when we are ready. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. If you are not a Christian, or you just can't relate to that, try to remember that the desires in our hearts, our dreams, passions, gifts, and talents were given to us and put there by a source beyond us. The universal love that created and called forth everything into existence. There is a purpose, reason, plan, and place for everything. 3. Open your heart. The more we connect to a heart-centered consciousness of love for ourselves and others, the more the heart will open. Our hearts have to be receptive to give and receive. Otherwise, our creativity is closed off, blocked, and our trust won't fully be present. A coherent heart is needed for change to be able to take place and for us to trust in ourselves and our abilities. Opening the heart is essential to have our passions, desires, and motivation to be at their peak. We accomplish this through meditation, affirmations, healthy self-love, and developing a deeper friendship with the God of our understanding. This is how we will create and sustain heart coherence. We have to get still, close our eyes. Putting our attention on the heart center, we have to change our breathing. Breathe in shorter, breathe out longer. Move into the present moment. Following these breaths, make sure you are slowing down your inhalations and exhalations. This will naturally turn on the autonomic nervous system. After a few moments of breathing, bring in thoughts of gratitude, appreciation, and thankfulness. Let go of resentment, frustration, and impatience. It takes time and repetition. Some days may go well. Other days we may feel distracted, like we just can't get it right. Keep at it. Envision the future and life you want, bringing in the gratitude you'll feel for having this life experience. You'll start to see and notice an elevation in your mood and thoughts. This is the beginning signs of transformation are starting to take root in your life. 4. Watch your thoughts. This is huge, especially in the beginning, because when we enter into the unknown, that's when the fear of uncertainties start to happen. Our sympathetic nervous system kicks into high gear. We have to put a conscious effort into letting go of this part of us that is stuck in old, outdated paradigms of lack, poverty, or scarcity. 80% of our repetitive thoughts are negative, so be compassionate and understand that we have to put effort in, and it takes time to reprogram our thoughts from negative to positive, from pessimistic to optimistic. Our minds will fight us on this. It will remind us of past failures or times when things went wrong. It will try to make us think of the worst case scenario, or it will try to convince us to think of the worst and then that whatever happens will be better. Don't do that. We create and bring to us what we are thinking about the most. Let go of all that. Choose to retrain and reframe your thoughts and mindset. Find gratitude in any situation that you are in. There is always something to be grateful for. Think of the positive outcomes, even the smallest good that can come out of a situation. Let go of the rest. Our tools will help us. We can use mental rehearsal, envision what we want to bring into our lives, seeing ourselves hitting our goals. This is also a great time to pray to God for the strength to do this. Ask God for help. Bring God your problems, concerns, worries, or fear. Remember, this is a joint effort. We are not alone on our journey. God is our co-pilot. 5. Focus on our goals. We have to look at what we're wanting to achieve and understand what is motivating us. Maybe you want to lose weight. Write down all the reasons why you want to lose the weight and the benefits you'd have from reaching your goal, physically, emotionally, and financially. Then write down all the reasons that have been stopping you or blocking you from achieving this now or in the past. And how has it affected you, physically, emotionally, and financially? Thoughts are the language of the brain. Feelings are the language of the body. Be aware that your mind will rebel against any new change you are trying to create because it is taking you out into the unknown. Your thoughts will naturally be negative, based in fear and uncertainty. Your body will then generate feelings that make you uncomfortable because the critter brain doesn't like change. It doesn't feel safe and would rather make you stay in an unhappy or even a miserable past that is familiar because it will lead to a predictable future. Understanding that this will happen in our mind once we step out into the unknown and out of the familiar and predictable. Our thoughts will fight us. It happens and it's normal. Knowing this is half the battle. We have to understand there may be a mild, short-term discomfort, but it will lead us to achieving a long-term satisfaction instead of a state of constant unhappiness. We can do this. Push past this. Thoughts and feelings are temporary. Lean on your practices to get you through hard energy or feelings of anxiety, fear, or dread. Reach out to a friend, coach, or an accountability partner. Move your body when you are feeling these emotions building up inside of you. Drink some water. We usually do not drink enough water, and most times we are thirsty, not hungry. What do we do when we are feeling upset or after an argument with someone, or when everything is going wrong? Instead of reaching for those chips or cake, go for a run or walk. Do some breath work off an app or on YouTube. Journal, listen to music, dance, exercise, schedule a massage or acupuncture appointment. When we use food, drugs, alcohol, shopping, gambling, whatever we turn to get our mind temporarily off the problem, this doesn't solve or change the event that is going on. It will likely only make us feel worse and fill us with anxiety, guilt, remorse, and depression because we now just add it to the problem by binging, spending, or doing something counterproductive. Cravings typically last only about 3 to 20 minutes, and then they pass. Get your mind involved in something constructive. Over time, the cravings will reduce and then completely stop once we stop giving in to them. We are establishing new coping skills. Be gentle with yourself, but be accountable. No one can make you do this for yourself. You have to choose to do this. Overcoming our impulsive side feels better and is more satisfying than any sweet or salty food ever tasted. We are so much more than the food to which we eat. And really, it's not the hunger of food that we are longing for. It's deeper than that. It's that full connection to our source. My soul will be satisfied as with fat, rich food, and my mouth will praise you with joyful lips. Psalm 63:5. It's passion, purpose, and desire that our soul is craving. We don't know how to respond to our soul, so we think it's a physical or material need that is calling to us. Taking time to get to know ourselves and our source will help us to learn this, balance this, and satisfy this longing and connection to our soul, mind, and body. We were made for this type of connection. That's why nothing else will satisfy. We know how to take care of our body's physical needs by feeding it, cleaning it, giving it rest and sleep. We stimulate our minds through learning and work. We entertain ourselves physically and mentally. But what are we doing for our soul's connection? When we respond to our soul's needs, we are responding to the God frequency and also to the deepest and truest part of ourselves. 6. Make new connections. We are rewiring our own brain waves and creating new brain chemistry. When we learn new habits, we must repeat them to remember them. We are creating new behaviors for ourselves. We have to train our brains to think more positively. Our receptors detect change and stimulate electrical impulses in response. Our brain is composed of about 85 billion neurons. A neuron is a cell that acts as a messenger, sending information in the form of a nerve impulse. Like electrical signals, these signals communicate from one neuron to another. When we are learning, important changes are taking place in our brain. We are creating new connections between our neurons called neuroplasticity. The more we practice, the stronger these connections become. As they strengthen, the nerve impulses are transmitted faster and are more efficient. This is how we become better at anything we learn. Whether we are playing a sport, reading, drawing, or learning a new behavior, they will become easier and more natural for us. But it will take time and repeated efforts to learn and program this into our brain. 7. Go all in. It's time to go in big. We've all made half-hearted attempts in the past at trying to achieve some type of self-improvement. Whether it's weight loss, becoming better at time management, being more organized, working on our temper, being more social, whatever it may be. When we failed at these half-hearted attempts, we tend to recoil and give up. We either feel defeated or despondent. We lose confidence in ourselves and settle for a life experience that is less than satisfying and way less than what we are worthy of and deserve. We were meant for so much more. The reason we don't feel completely satisfied inside, The reason we have that restlessness that can't be filled by outside physical material things or even by people is because deep down, our soul feels this disconnect and is unfulfilled. This is how our soul is letting us know that we are missing out on that connection to our heart's desire, our purpose, and our deepest fulfillment in life. What if we kept at our efforts? What if we set up an accountability partner that was non-biased, that was there to hold us accountable, to encourage us and motivate us when we start to fall off track or lose sight of our goals or when we are having a bad day? What if we decided we were worth the effort we were putting in, that we are good enough, lovable enough, and worthy of having the best life possible? There is nothing that we can't do if we get aligned with the right mindset. Look at Olympic athletes or neuroscientists, astronauts, brain surgeons, or heroic people that have risked their own lives and have saved others from deadly situations. They are human, just like the rest of us. There is nothing inside them that isn't available and inside of us all. It doesn't matter how smart, how rich, or what social standing a person may have. We all have the same potential in us and the same capacity to do extraordinary things. It comes down to our mindset, desire, determination, and follow through. We all have a purpose and a right to be here. We were called forth into being by a power greater than us. It's time we start to understand this fully at a supernatural level. 8. Tap into constructive energy. Using our mind, body, and spirit practices will help us greatly to connect to our source. It will open up our creativity and help flush out toxins and old, blocked, stagnant energy and negative thoughts. The feelings and emotions of not being good enough or able to achieve these things will come up. Understand this. Know this. Be ready for this. We already know that 80% of our repetitive thoughts are negative, so we have to create new thoughts. What are we taking in on a daily basis? Remember, our brain is a supercomputer. What are we programming into it? What are we watching? What are we listening to? Are they positive things? Or are we feeding our minds junk, just like our fast food culture is doing to our bodies? I can't watch horror movies or very violent shows. I never really liked them, but they seem to have gotten even more gory and over-the-top bloody and graphic. It's a fact. The movies, TV shows, video games, and music we watch and listen to make an imprint on our brain. Like a software program on a computer, they will keep replaying in our mind's eye. Thoughts of them and images of them will randomly pop up out of nowhere in our mind. The same thing holds true for what we think about most. If we are caught up in a grudge, resentment, feeling bitter, jealous, or pettiness, we will naturally feel and be in a lower, negative vibrational frequency. People can get so fixated on these things in their minds that they start to play a story in there, like a fantasy of revenge or violence against someone or something. This can take us to dark places, very dark places. When convicted murderers are asked why they carried out the act of murder, many times they talk about fixated thoughts of revenge or the act of violence in their mind against the person or people for a long period of time before they carried out the actual act of it in real life. Many times when we learn more about these individuals, we find out they were obsessed with violence or murder. Sometimes playing violent video games to the point of obsession. Their Google search is disturbing and dark. They are fixated on crimes and events where people were harmed or killed. There is no doubt their minds are sick and troubled. Their minds are stuck in victimhood, anger, resentment, hate, rage, bitterness, sometimes for years. They've usually experienced trauma in their own childhood, wounds that have never been healed or addressed. So these negative stories and violent thoughts just stay in their brain on replay over and over again. What we watch and take in through our eyes and ears matters to our mental well-being. There is no denying that over the past 20 years, our movies, video games, TV shows, and internet have gotten so much more graphic. Even our news channels, not only do they primarily tell only the negative bad things that are going on in our society, but there is a combative, snarky pettiness of bullying, name-calling, anger, and division amongst our political parties. There seems to be no middle ground of coming together for the greater good, and there is definitely no human respect or dignity shown to each other. Many people want to blame gun violence for the problems that are plaguing our country, and I'm not saying that we don't need to look at that. But we also need to take a real look at what we are ingesting from our eyes into our brain from these platforms as well. School shootings didn't happen like this in the 80s when I was a child. Now they've become a sick phenomenon that has seemed to spread like a disease. When I was in school, we never practiced drills for an active shooter. We only practiced fire drills. Our schools weren't locked from the inside. We can't pretend this is all from gun violence alone. Our mental health crises in America and throughout our world has grown exponentially. What are we feeding our minds? What images are we programming in? Where is our connection to God? Why do we feel like we are on our own? Why aren't we taught or encouraged to understand that we have a source greater than us, with us, at all times? Talking about God offends people or makes them uncomfortable. We have to collapse that paradigm. When we start to tap into constructive energy, we begin to understand that we are directly connected to our source and always have been. We will see and feel this elevation in our mood, in our thoughts, and then we can put it into our actions. What we feed and program into our mind matters because it will affect what is on replay in our thoughts. 9. Stop the excuses. We have to let go of all the excuses and justifications we give as to why we stay stuck in the same storyline year after year. We tell our story over and over again as to why we can't lose the weight or how our childhood has pigeonholed us. We blame others or events that have happened years or decades ago. We hold on to this story as it has become our identity. We stay in victimhood or martyrdom that we can't change or grow because it will upset someone else if we did. We feel we have to remain the same in order to be there for others. We hold on to small-minded thinking that things can only be done a certain way. We hold on to an either-or mentality when it can really be a both-and experience. We claim we have too many responsibilities and obligations to do for others, so we can't possibly put our needs as a priority. We don't even value them as needs, but look at it as being selfish or greedy. We act like we're the only ones who can do the things we do at home or at work, and no one else can do it the way we can. We are codependent, stuck, and miserable. 10. Break the cycle. We are the only ones who can ultimately make the choice to let go of old thoughts, habits, and outdated beliefs. We have to let go of laziness and be willing to be uncomfortable for a moment in order to break through to a new level of living. We have to be willing to change our energy inside our body. We are changing limited emotions to elevated emotions. When we are freeing ourselves from thoughts of the past, we have to use a deeper level of intensity that is greater than the old programs that have been hardwired in our brain. That is why breath work and breathing exercises are so important. We need to embrace and be comfortable being in the unknown. Using these techniques and tools are ways to improve our quality of life and will help us to regulate ourselves as we do so. We must meet the challenges in our lives from a greater level of our mind. We all have this ability inside of us. Let go of your old self and become supernatural. Invest time in yourself doing these practices. They are not hard, they are free, and they will help prepare you to step out of the predictable world you live in into the unknown world of creation. And you'll be surprised how effortless it will become, especially when we stomp out laziness, complaining, and caring about what other people think. No one has to live your life for you but you. Become the creator of your own life. God is with us and wants us to have this freedom, and God is here to assist us in achieving it. I am changing my entire life. I am leaving a 14-year steady massage therapy practice that I built up through word of mouth. I love my clients. I also love and deeply care about my family, whom I will miss tremendously. But I tapped into my deeper desire, passion, and purpose for my life. I feel God calling me to get out of my comfort zone and to move across the country to Colorado. I am doing this on my own, starting over. It was now or never. I am taking a chance on me, leaving everything I've known for the majority of my life and starting a new chapter in my journey. With my coaching career and podcast series that are fueling my every step of the way, I've never felt more alive in my life. I wake up every day with fresh vigor and enthusiasm that I've never known before, because I'm stepping into my purpose, plan, and design that I was created for. Of course, I'm a little nervous. I'm human, aren't I? But everything we want is on the other side of fear. I trust in my desires. I am confident in myself. And my intuition has never felt more on point. I am witnessing synchronicities and seeing many alignments in my life that are confirmations to me that I am on the right path. I have been doing this walk with God my entire life. At times, I felt alone and lost, but I held on to my faith and I kept pushing through. These last 2 years of my life, I experienced some really painful events, but I also experienced some really profound, miraculous ones as well. 6 days after my dad died in February 2021, I had an epiphany and realized that everything in my life up to that point happened exactly the way it was supposed to. Things that didn't make sense in the past became clear. I have no regrets. I wouldn't change anything because it allowed me to have all that personal time with my father. Even in the loss of him, it fueled me to push forward, to get out of my comfort zone, and I learned to be okay in the uncomfortable feeling of being in the unknown. The unknown puts us in a place for great transformation to happen. It can feel overwhelming to be in uncertainty, especially if we look at everything we are doing or need to do all at once. So don't. We can't do it all at once. We do it step by step, one day at a time. God is on this path with us, every step of the way, so we are never really alone. The Spirit will bring us the things we need when we need them, including opportunities and the people we need. Developing our relationship with our Creator will build up that bond, love, and trust we need to have in ourselves and in our Source. Our confidence in our own capabilities will grow as we grow interiorly. We will start to understand and trust that our Creator is really helping us and is at work in our lives. We will begin to witness physical manifestations of things and situations coming into alignment, and we will observe synchronicities as well. Timing and good fortune will appear to be on our side, but it's not good luck or a happy chance of coincidence. It's God at work in our lives in conjunction with our efforts. We need to understand this, believe this, and elevate our frequencies to achieve this and see this happening in our lives. Using our practices daily, and especially when we are hitting a wall, having a craving, or any type of struggle, our practice will help us to elevate our energetic fields and will help us flush out toxins, waste, and negative thoughts of fear, anxiety, or angst. As I said before, everything we need to do this work is right inside each one of us, and it's free. St. Paul preached Christ crucified, and I want to preach Christ resurrected. We are an Easter people, and Alleluia is our song. St. Augustine. The freedom this path of living with integrity gives us is priceless. It's not easy at first, but nothing in life is easy at first. Do it anyway. Be patient with yourself and others. Stay humble. Don't be afraid to ask for help or seek out guidance from a coach, therapist, or set up an accountability partner. Be willing to forgive and ask for forgiveness if you need to. If someone doesn't want to extend forgiveness to you, be at peace in the fact that you did your part in cleaning up your side of the street. You tried. Leave the rest in God's hands. Be courteous, kind, friendly, and helpful to strangers. This will not only help us feel good, but it will help us advance and overcome many parts of ourselves. These are low-hanging fruits that will move us along and level us up faster in the game of life. Everything that comes to us in our day has its purpose, even the setbacks and times of waiting. How are we dealing with them? Are we complaining and whining, being petty, selfish, and snappy? Or during our days, are we lying, scamming, cheating, looking down on someone, or gossiping? Because if we are, it keeps us stuck, going nowhere except maybe into a lower quality experience in life. Are we being lazy, argumentative, a know-it-all, or hypocrite? Let's face it, we've all been hypocrites at different times in our lives. A lot of times, we've walked through this life with blinders on, thinking only of ourselves and our problems, and are oblivious to what we do or how we are really treating other people. Or maybe we've noticed and just didn't care. When we make the decision and choose to put the effort in to take off the old self and put on the new, it is something that will completely and radically change us forever. There is no going back to the old way of being. And once we understand this, we will begin to feel and witness this higher state of consciousness that is available for all of us to have in this life. Truly, our hearts will burn from within. They asked each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he talked with us on the road and opened the scriptures to us? Luke chapter 24, verse 32. We are not opening up the scriptures here. We are beginning to live them. It's almost like we are waking up to this new existence from living in a state of amnesia. We have forgotten who and what we truly are, what we were born for. We were created in the image of God. We are children of the Most High. We were given a divine birthright to the kingdom of heaven. Our true greatness has yet to be seen. Life will then take on a new level of joy, excitement, and enthusiasm that I can't even put into words. It is not something anyone can explain. It has to be felt to be fully comprehended. It is usually through deep suffering that we come to a place of willingness to surrender and try something new out of our comfort zone. That is how it happened for me. Our suffering has a purpose and is not in vain. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. Soren Kierkegaard. I am grateful for my life. I am not a victim. I regret none of my life experiences. I see now how they all had to play out exactly as they did. The freedom in that knowledge alone has put my heart in total and complete acceptance with profound peace, which has liberated me from every lower vibrational frequency that would like to try to make me think otherwise. The past can't touch me. Besides me not being there anymore, I am at peace with my life. I wait in joyful hope and anticipation for all the good God has in store for me. I am so thankful and humbled by these gifts that I once looked at as afflictions or thought of as bad luck or disappointing circumstances in my life. I gladly give any and all pain and struggles I experience to God, for through my pain I was made whole. My grace is enough for you, for my power manifests itself in your weakness. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. And now I want and need to give away what was so freely given to me. I was a very private person. If someone would have told me I would be telling my life story on a podcast, I would say they were crazy. I haven't even gone into some of the darker things I've experienced in my life, but at some point I will. If it means that someone listening will say, if she can do it, then I can definitely do it. I believe our stories are not just our own. We get to share them, to witness to each other. We get to carry and support each other. We are all one and belong to the same God, creator of all things, including the universe. It was a pleasure doing this first part of my series, Living with Integrity, Creating an Abundant Life. I want to thank you, the listener, for tuning into my podcast. I will be doing more series going further into developing a Jesus consciousness. We will be advancing and expanding a personal daily walk with Christ and how we can look at our neighbors, especially the most annoying ones, and understand the great gift we are being given through them by God. I will also share some more of my stories of my addiction and near-death experiences, as well as more hardships I overcame and view as some of my biggest blessings. If you are looking for a more personalized method of guidance in your own life, contact me through my website, coachingwithkaren.com, where I will personally take you through a 12-week, 90-day program called Total Transformation, Mind, Body, and Spirit, where I will be helping you to stay accountable with encouragement and small action steps to help you shift your mindset and create new paradigms. Sessions are virtual or in person where available. The link to my website is located in the episode description. I want to give a special thank you to my cousin, Melanie Shantz, for all her hard work and the amazing job she did on this podcast series, the editing, artwork, and music. I wouldn't have been able to release this series without you. I love you, Mel. You are the best. And I want to take this time to also thank Catherine Falagi for all her help this past year, developing my website and all the hard work she did behind the scenes. You were a tremendous help and gift to me, Catherine. And to my family, I love you all so very much and will miss you so deeply. Thank you for understanding and supporting my calling. I know we will stay close and connected. And last, but certainly not least, I want to thank my biggest supporter and inspiration, my God, my rock, my stronghold, my fortress I stand firm. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for the inspiration, words, and ability to get my voice out there into the world. If my story or guidance can help even one person to feel inspired, hope, or encouragement, that they can turn on that spark of faith inside their own soul, and that they can develop their trust in themselves and a power greater than them, I will know that I am fulfilling my life's purpose. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next series.